Hi guys, I wanted to give a quick video about how in your web conference, your third web conference, you will be incorporating Google Documents. So this video is going to give a quick overview about how you should be including it in your presentation. So what I'm going to do is show you how to do application share, and then give a quick demonstration, and then use the web tour, and then go ahead and share. So let's talk about Google Docs. I think you guys all know about it, but we just want to start from the basics to make sure that everybody understands exactly what Google Docs is. So I'll do an overview. Google has an Office suite, and they have they have word processor. It's called a doc. Their spreadsheet is called Sheets, and their presentation program is called Slides. The equivalent of Docs would be Word in Microsoft, Sheets would be Excel, and then Slides would be PowerPoint in Microsoft. So they have equivalent type products in the Google Office suite that's available. They're a little different because unlike the Microsoft that a lot of people use, which downloads to your computer, theirs is entirely online. So you can only access the Google Office suite through the web application server, but it's free. So that's a pretty powerful option to be able to be free for individuals, very inexpensive for schools, and businesses can have a very inexpensive paid suite offering. So that's why it's really caught on, because it's very good technology, and it's either free or very, very low cost. So Google has become very powerful. Now, one of the things that Google did early is they have real-time collaboration through their documents. So students in different locations can pull up a doc, a sheet, or they can pull up a spreadsheet, or their spreadsheet, or their slides. I want to say the Microsoft names, and they can work on them in real-time collaboration at the same time, and everybody can write in the document and work on it to create a shared collaborative document, which is very powerful. And now Microsoft has the ability to do it also, but it came out afterwards, and some would argue that their collaboration is not as powerful really as Google. So this is really one of the big tools that made Google popular early on. And as far as collaboration in an online environment, it's a great tool if we're trying to make our online classes. Now, when you take a look at Google versus Microsoft, the desktop version, it's not quite as powerful. It doesn't have as many functions as the desktop, but some would argue that that's okay because it's simpler, it's efficient, it's a little easier to use. So some would argue that you don't need all those features in the Microsoft desktop version. So it's not quite as powerful, but it still does the trick. But Microsoft has come out and launched its free version of products, and Microsoft calls theirs Office 365. Very equivalent to the Google apps in the fact that they're simpler products. They're stripped down. You have to buy the full desktop version to get those rich, deep features. But if you're comparing the cloud version Google to the cloud of Microsoft, they're very similar. And because of that, in the K through 12 marketplace, more than half of the K through 12 schools are using these Google apps, and this is increasing every day. It's called Googleification in the classroom. So more and more schools are starting to use these Google products, and that's what our students are growing up with. So they're learning Google, they're familiar with Google, and they also collaborate together. So students know this technology, and it's a pretty powerful feature, and it's just growing more and more and more in the K through 12 world. creeping into the higher education. So let's talk about what you're required to do in this third web conference using Google requirements. And you can go into Pilot and it's got specific instructions. But if you look at the 10 things you're required to do overall, if you look at 8, 9, and 10, those are all about Google. First, I want you to do application sharing, where you'll do a quick demo to show participants how to create a Google productivity tool. And that can either be a doc, a sheet, or a slide. And then you will, while you're in that demonstration using application share, you will show your students how to make those documents, change the properties so that the documents have the ability to be jointly worked on collaboratively all at the same time. By default, that doesn't happen. You actually have to make that happen. And you do this quick demo in application share, and then you get out of application share and you use Web Tour to actually pull up a Google document, and you all will collaborate on that to do a debrief at the end of your web conference to allow all of your students to type into one of these Google Docs, sheets, or slides and do your case study debrief. So you can be creative with this, and you can decide however you want to do it. There's no right or wrong answer, but all of this needs to be done pretty quickly. So here's a suggestion about how I would recommend doing it. First, you're going to do the quick demo in your web conference, and the tool you're going to use for that is Blackboard application share. So you'll have your slides, you'll upload your slides ahead of time, and you'll come to the point where you'll say to your students, we're going to be working in in a Google Doc, and I want to show you how you do this. So imagine this person is you, substitute that face out for your face, and then you might say something to them like, now I'd like to take a minute in our Blackboard session and do a quick demonstration with Google productivity apps. I will first do application share in Blackboard to do a very, very quick demo to show you how to create a Google productivity tool, a doc, sheet, or slide, and then I will show you how to share those documents. And after our quick demo, I will actually launch a shared doc, and we will collaborate together with that Google Doc where we will fill it out together. So imagine that's you and you're introducing it, telling them you're going to do a quick demo, and then you're actually going to do it. So you launch it and you tell them what you're about to do. The trick of this is you want to practice it a few times ahead of time, so that it can take up just like 2 or 3 minutes for the demo, and then maybe 1 or 2 minutes for the actual collaboration, and so that it's a very short time. So you do the introduction, and then you want to launch application share. And of the little icons above the whiteboard, it's the second one over, and you click on it, and once you click on application share, you get some options. For this case, to make your life easy, I would select Share Desktop, and then you click on Share. And then when that happens, it's going to share your entire computer screen. Now, the advantage of this, it's kind of simple because whatever's there gets shared. The disadvantage of this is you have to be careful that you don't have anything open on your desktop that's too personal, like emails or email addresses or email conversations or anything that might be embarrassing. So make sure all that stuff is closed, and you will also want to make sure that whatever you're sharing, in this case your Google website, is open ahead of time, so that when you click on share and it starts sharing your desktop, it minimizes Blackboard Collaborate, and you want to make sure that Google website is open. So you click it, it minimizes, and voila! Heaven forbid you forget to do it, just launch it and it'll share it. Now when you open it, do you see that yellow dotted line? Whatever is open inside of those yellow, and if you're sharing your desktop, it's going to be at the edge of your computer screen, everything on the inside of it is what is being shared. And that's what's nice about having a laptop to your right, that you log in as a fake student or a demo student, and then you can glance over to make sure that it's sharing properly and everything looks good. So for beginners, I always recommend doing that. So you go ahead and you launch it, and you can just look at the yellow dotted lines and to make sure that you are indeed sharing. And kind of what it looks like is it's right on the outside of your computer screen, and then everything on your desktop is shared. So then you start your demonstration. You go up and you say, okay guys, go to your Google website, log in, and then go up and click on your Google Apps, which is in the upper right hand corner. It's that square with the 9 little squares. You click on it and you go ahead and select Drive, and then Drive will open up on your desktop. And so as you're doing this, you're not only showing them and they can see because because you have the application share, but you're doing it and talking through it. And then you say, now we're going to go ahead and create the documents. But before we do that, let's create a folder to put them in. So you click on New, select Folder, you give your folder a name, in this case, something like Web Conference, Web Conference, Share Documents, and then you click on Create, and then you double click on the folder to go ahead and create the documents, and click on New, and you're either going to select Docs, Sheets, or Slides. In this case, if you look at it, I created a doc, which is just like what we would think of as Microsoft Word. And I created the shell or the template. It doesn't have any of the variable information, but that's what I want the students to fill out as they're working together. But you can see it's separated by groups, and the students' names would be on the left-hand side. So in this case, I think I asked them, what did you learn from the case study? Each person would go to their block and they would fill it out, and we would be creating a shared collaborative document. And when you do that, you're going to want to make sure that it works for the live students, but also the students watching at a later date. So that'll have to go in the web tour. So you need to change the properties so that that document can be has the properties to be able to be collaborative. By default, it is not. So to do that, once you've created the document, you click on it, and it's now highlighted in that dark blue in the middle, big square around the blue, and then you look up above it in that little person that's got the circle around it. That's the share icon. You click on the share, and it will launch a little document in the lower left-hand corner. You have two options. You can either share with people by email, but in this case, the easier way to do this is just to get an open URL link that when you send that link, it's available to whoever gets that link can share. And because we have Web Tour in our web conferencing, that is a pretty powerful feature. So in this case, I'm going to recommend that you share with the shareable URL link. But in addition to doing the link, you have to decide what property rights do you want to give them? How much access do you want to do it? So if you look over in the right bottom, step number 3, you have to decide, do you want to allow them to have minimal access where they can only view it? Do you want them to be able to view and comment? Or do you want them to actually be able to type into it? And in that case, that would be editing. So when you make these choices, you're going to do the URL link, and you have to decide the access. Now, by default, these things don't happen automatically. So you have to go in, you have to make those choices, which is a good thing. And so it's going to give you the URL link, and if you see over on the right-hand side, you're going to need to copy that link to use later to be able to share that document. But you can see in the middle, you have to make that choice of access. Everything from the left-hand side to the lowest amount of access to the right-hand side. So in this case, for our example or our web conference, you need to do the most access. You have to give them the ability to edit access, because everyone in your classroom has to go in and has to have the ability to make changes by typing into that document. So you have to. So then you go back in, and once you've given them the URL, you've given them the access rights, you click on copy link, and that is the link that everybody will use to go into that shared collaborative document to work on it. Now this is your demo that you're doing. You're doing this quick demo, you're talking through with everybody, you're showing them how to create the document, how to set the rights, how to copy the link, and then you're good to go, and you've done that and you've walked them through all the way. And so this is the demo part of it, and then you're done. So you click on the return to whiteboard, which are your PowerPoint slide. It's the little icon to the left, and you're done with your demo, and now you're ready, and that should only take about 2 to 3 minutes. Now you want to begin the part of your presentation where you will be using Google Docs to allow your students to collaborate, and actually each person will put their own information and jointly collaborate to create a new document. And that will be the last part. You will use WebTour to allow them to go ahead and jointly work together to create this document that each person has the ability to edit, share, communicate, and it really increases the community of practice to give them the power to do this kind of joint creation and joint creation of knowledge. So to do this, you need to create the shell of the document ahead of time. This students shouldn't even see this. So it's all saved, and once it's created, you need to save your own URL, and then you copy that URL and you have it ready to go, so that when you're doing your web conference and you're done with the demo. So you're done with the demo and now you're ready to do the web tour. So you click on the third little icon over, and that's the web tour, and then you paste in the URL to that collaborative document, and that's probably done with a Control V, and you hit enter. And once you do that, it will go ahead and launch that document. But to do the demonstration, you did the application share, but to allow students to work on it together, I think you should try the web tour. If the web tour doesn't work, you can always do the application share, but I think try the web tour, see if it'll work, because it can be pretty powerful. So it will pull up that document, and everybody in the class should be able to type in the document. And so in my example, I had them type in, each person had a spot, and what did you learn from this case study? And you could ask them things like write a 1-sentence reflection on what you learned, or write one question you still have about information we had. Or it could be something like, tell me one thing you liked about class, or one thing you didn't like about class, or what will you do after this class. It can be whatever you want. So be creative, come up with your own document, and it's going to launch, and everybody, if you did this correctly, should have editing capability where they have the ability to go in and make changes. So that's the Googley type of things that I'm asking you to do in your third web conference. It should be cool, it should be fun, and good luck doing it. Give me a call if you have questions. Thanks, guys. That's it. Bye.